And then she did one special after she got the double mastectomy where she just does the whole thing topless. Yeah. Which I
That's
support.
off-putting.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of topless champions,
Yeah.
we have the champion of the second roast on with us today, Brian Rowe.
Hey.
Philly's hat. He's hiding that haircut. He got made fun of last night for his hair, so he got a hat.
I went. The barber was telling me that it's like a 92-year-old barber shop and all this stuff. They've got all these pictures of like Bloomfield police around, and so I walked in looking. I felt like a hipster and kind of out of place.
Mm-hmm. They fixed that right up.
Yeah, he gave me like a crew cut.
Yeah.
Like I look like a Hitler youth.
You look normal now.
Not
you
even.
look fucking normal.
You look like
pencil head.
You look like an assistant manager on the Phillies, but like in charge. Like
I was gonna say at Staples. You look like an assistant manager
Yeah.
at Staples.
No, that's a little out of my reach. That's
Right.
you know.
Right.
Brian, what did you think of the roast?
The roast was great. It was a lot of fun. I mean, the first one was electric, and this one was, a great
Buzzing.
follow-up to it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see it continuing on, and obviously happy for Chuck and you too, Logan, and Trevor Austin, I guess, and Georgia.
Yeah, they're more loosely associated.
Yeah,
it's mainly
no.
me and Chuck.
Yeah.
It's my
He
thing.
and Chuck do
Yeah.
the heavy lifting.
No, but it's mostly Trevor Austin and Georgia Warder. So we're,
Yeah. Well, I think you killed it all the way up until the final. I feel the thing with like you started with like Eric Damon,
yeah.
and it was like kind of like an awkward route, not because of you, but it was
Oh,
like very slow.
No, it was very awkward. I was standing up there. I asked Trevor. I was like, I asked how much time do we have? And Trevor was like, time. You have to do jokes. Or whatever.
Yeah.
I had one joke for that guy, and then a couple of lines here and there about being Catholic and facing a Protestant. So
Yeah. No, Trevor leaned over to me like during the middle of he was having fun, but he'd be like, and that's not even the roast yet.
yeah.
And that's not even the roast yet.
See,
And Trevor leaned over to me. He's like, should we just like cut him early? Or like, what do I don't know.
that kind of did it for me. Like I thought that was his funniest part when he was like, and look at how pathetic he is, and that's not even a roast. So we could keep going.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the longer it went on, the funnier that got to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I felt like only thing that people had against you was like, he's the eighth child.
Yeah.
His mom's a whore. Or like he's Catholic. Or he probably was molested. You know?
I look like Harry Potter. These are like all things that I've been hearing my whole life. You
Yeah.
look like Harry Potter. Your mom has a loose pussy, and you got molested.
That was the other piece for me, was that you were good with the comebacks. Like, you could tell you'd been hearing it your
It
whole
was. I seemed damaged on stage.
No, I
No, you really sold like being insecure and like defensive
Yeah.
up there.
life.
Thank
No,
you.
but it was good. It was good. They were quick. They were mean.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
fun.
listening audience. I mean, if you want to do well at the roast, and I'm judging. I mean, comebacks.
Mhm.
Comebacks are one of the big things I'm looking for as a judge.
Yeah.
I felt kind of bad because Eric was doing a setup where he was like kind of painting me nicely, and I thought that was the whole roast, so I was like, you don't have to compliment me or whatever, but I kind of stepped on his line there.
What the fuck are
See,
you doing?
Vaughn.
What?
People can
We
hear
can
that,
hear
moron.
that.
Oh, you can?
That was on purpose.
God, this is now an ASMR roast.
Mm-hmm.
Sivan,
Why are you still doing
I'm
it?
not doing
this
anything.
is why your parents don't love you.
That's not why, and I'm not doing anything.
It's part of the
Stevon, you're back in like second grade now. You're too mad right now.
I'm not even doing anything.
Sivan, listen to the
I didn't even
footsteps of
do
your
anything.
parents walking away.
So Brian,
Yeah, that's
what I don't got shit to say to you. I'm
thank
sorry.
God. I thought this was gonna be like tear him apart, like open
Brian,
season
so
on Brian.
What are you gonna do with your belt? What are you gonna do with your winnings?
I have the belt in the car. I think it's
It'll
gonna.
stay
I've heard that
stay
before.
there,
Yeah.
and
Should have brought it in. Could have displayed it.
I thought about doing that, but then I was like, it's
Put it beside the
too-
mango.
Yeah.
What do you want your shirt to say?
Uh,
Leah's girlfriend just said I make shirts for the roast. We're the last winner. Now Brian's face and his girlfriend just wants to say winner.
Winner? That's weak.
That's good. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. How about that?
Yeah.
Well, you posted winner, winner, etc.
Yeah, 'cause
last
someone
night.
someone else said winner, winner, chicken dinner to me. And
I think
Well-
winner, winner, etc. is a good.
yeah,
Actually,
it
that might be a
trails
good
off.
T-shirt.
Have
yeah.
you tweeted since the roast?
No, actually, I'm off Twitter for Lent. That's how bad my Twitter addiction is.
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
Every time I post on Twitter, I just at Brian in the tweet because he's my only follower.
Logan tweeted something cryptic. I can't look at it because I don't have Twitter on my phone anymore. But it was very cryptic. It was like, if I ever succeed or you ever come at me, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, it was just some one-liner that I thought of. It, like, wouldn't I have no jokes that it would like fit into, but it was like kind of like a cryptic, like, you know, don't fuck with me, something. And I just tagged Brian in it as a thought, you know, just to make sure my followers see it. And then he thought I was coming after him.
I thought
machete.
I was scared. I had flashbacks to when you were explaining, you know, your past with social media.
Yeah.
So
The dark times, the dark era.
the light time, they were great times, I think, for you.
Yeah. So who do you think besides you? Can't answer yourself. Who was your favorite roaster yesterday?
I actually really liked Ian Doherty. He was a killer up there.
Yeah, he was really good.
And I wasn't expecting that. I don't know why. I've seen him a couple times at mics and stuff like that, but not,
Yeah.
I don't really know that much about him.
Yeah, it's always for me, it's always the people who you're not expecting to
Mm-hmm.
do the best that you're like, oh. It seems to go. I mean, the first one was like Eric Mathami. Like I had no idea that he would have prepped so well or be so good at the roasting.
Obviously, Mark Shimket's, you know, I wasn't expecting him to body Peter Arsenal that way, and he did really handle him.
Oh, dude. And yeah, if you can get somebody on their heels,
Yeah.
it's like,
Oh yeah.
You know,
So I'll go downhill
it's
from there.
more of a strategy. It's like playing chess up there. You know, you're attacking.
It is like boxing, I would say.
Yeah.
It is kind of like you know when to like apply pressure and when to kind of like move out of the way a little bit.
Well, I purposely wore contacts yesterday because I was like, I don't want to give them anything. You know, I don't want them to have.
Just come in the plainest
Yeah.
outfit you have.
Yeah.
They wore a big black sheet over myself.
well, it is.
I wear a burqa to every roast I go to.
Yeah,
I
and
think
burqas don't lend themselves to jokes at all.
No.
So,
Because I'll kill you
Right,
if you
yeah.
joke about my
it
burqa.
takes the
Don't
fire.
talk about my profit.
Right.
Do
No,
not talk about
I
my
will
profit.
murder you.
But I mean, it is definitely a strat. Not to say like you definitely should make a bio for the roast, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But if like besides that, people don't have anything on you, you know, like I feel like if I was in the roast, you know, and I went up against somebody who's kind of like plain Janey, I don't know, Pete Morrissey. Shout out Pete Morris. I guess that was a dig at Pete Morris. So dig at Pete Morris.
Uh-huh.
Well, they have our sister podcast. That's
yeah,
our
yeah.
sister podcast.
Yeah, we'll see. And shout out Pete Morris again. And but like if I went against him, because like there's a lot of stuff on me. Like I'm a cuck. I'm a convict, ex-convict. A detransition or whatever. There's a lot of like things to do with
A
that.
lot of hooks.
And I'm like, Pete likes to hunt, and he vapes.
Yeah,
And
I didn't
he's
know.
from Erie.
I didn't know anything about him. My last joke was like, I assume Pete was in a fraternity, and then I don't think that's even true. Just by the way he reacted to it, I was like,
But even that's a line.
yeah,
That's like a good line.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's also just like that's the function of doing this when not only are we younger comedians, we're also not like famous.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you watch like roast battles and it's like this person has a website, this person has a special, this person has a scandal, this person has there's like all this shit you can do with it. But like for us, actually, but I think it almost is the other way around too, because it is so personal and intimate because we are so low to the ground. It does actually kind of make for a really good show. But yeah, I mean, like Ian gave me a bio and I was like, fucking okay, he's 5'10".
Yeah.
She went to WV. But you know what? Maybe I'm not a very good roaster. If that's
Well, no, I think actually the best roast I've seen was between you guys, and people have said that before.
The judge roast.
No. Well, that was
The
fine.
first round
That
of the
was
first
fine.
one?
Yeah, first
Just
round of the
okay.
first
That's
one.
me and
when
Georgia.
Zevon and Georgia went up against each other because you guys know so much about each other. And
Yeah.
that really set the bar for that night. People were going wild. So
yeah, it was a lot of
Oh, I
fun.
think
Yeah.
like good another round like that was like Jared v. Blake.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they when you know the deep cuts on somebody, like
Yeah.
you're hashing it out.
The
for
Life of
everybody.
Jared is a fundamentally
Oh,
good
that-
film that
Oh,
fails to live
God,
up to its
yes.
potential.
that was
Good.
so good.
Aside from star performances by the roommates, it seems to fall flat.
And the nice thing about the roast at the end of the day too is like it really does come down to two jokes. You know.
Yep.
It's not like. Some of the weakest roasts are just the ones where people are like they just give a biographical thing.
Yeah.
without, like
You go straight from
Well,
the bio.
He made gay rap.
That's how
Yeah, like that's it.
that's how I'll write my roast.
Shout
So
out
I always
Asher.
start with
Shout
like
out
a
Asher, you were
fact, like
Yes.
"Hebda is which means that," and so you kind of just pirouette into it.
Yeah.
That's my process for writing it is just to write like
What's
20
true?
mean true statements about somebody, and then
Mhm.
I take those and I'm like, all right, how do you make this clever and funny?
Yeah, no, that's
And then you have
literally.
your baseline.
Well, it's such a good master class in just like writing the most tight thing that you possibly can. I don't know if I would. I mean, I don't know if it's entirely transferable because like I can't imagine me going up and like in my set telling.
I have this friend.
Yeah.
And this is a
Imagine
fact
for a
about it.
moment this fucking loser. Okay, so I mean, like, yeah,
I
I
still
had
think- Oh,
sorry.
sorry. I was just gonna say, I still think that roast humor, like once you get in that flow, though, it would be good for crowd work if somebody's being a dick.
Yeah.
no, that's true.
Yeah.
That is, just being like, you look like no.
Restructure
That's like
something.
yeah,
You
like-
look like a no.
it's just- yeah. It's like jail. It's like jail. Brian, you were gonna say something though.
I forget what I was going to
Sorry.
say.
He was
exactly.
basking
Well,
in
the reason
implied
why-
N-word.
the reason-
Yeah,
yeah.
I was distracted by how beautiful it was.
That crowd
like
work.
a moth to the flame with that kind of thing. It's so nice to be in the warmth of.
You're with friends.
Yeah.
It's all love.
Yeah.
Don't, well, yeah. Don't look
Well-
into the light. Don't look into the light. But like that's really like jailhouse, kind of like like ribbing each other in jail.
Yeah.
It's just a mixture of crowd
Ribbing
work
each
and
other in
roasting. Yeah, I mean like
jailhouse. I'm like picturing you and Elvis Presley.
It does kind of
I'm
sound.
for the county and the county jail.
You,
Terroristic threats on Instagram. They're not going to give you bail.
Yeah.
you, Elvis Presley and Johnny T like hanging out, being like, "We gotta get the fuck out of here."
Oh.
What's your writing process for roast? How do you approach it?
For the roast, so I wrote mostly jokes for Peter Arsenal because he was the top dog, and I was like, I want to, fuck that guy up or whatever. And the only things I knew about him were that he's kind of a nerd, and he looks a lot like a nerd,
Yeah.
So I
I can't believe nobody's ever made a single roast joke about Peter Arsenal that he's divorced.
man,
Nobody's
No.
ever, not a single. I mean, yeah, it's like been like, even touched that.
people were
Really?
going in on his girlfriend. Is his wife?
His wife, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
going in
that's
on
his wife now?
last night.
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
know they got married. That's crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's when
He's
they were.
pregnant, so
That's
Oh,
when
man.
that's when he was away for a couple weeks. And
Oh, because
this
he
month,
was
I
his
think.
honeymoon
I
in
think it was
Costa Rica.
honeymoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
I thought you meant he snuck away to get married.
probably.
do not say only plays.
I was thinking it. I really did.
Do
I wasn't
not
gonna
say
say it.
only
I
plays.
censored myself.
Brian is actually the most dangerous person for me in comedy because he knows the source of like 3/4 of my funny.
I actually was going to. I had a joke for you about
yeah.
if you ever end up on the wrong part of the internet, you find Logan's not as funny as you think he is.
that would be a real rip. So that's the thing. I don't know who I was talking, or I think it was just you, George, when we were driving after the roast yesterday. I was like, I feel like people don't know. People have like the surface level things for me, which is like, or it was you, Brian. Yeah, surface level things of like, oh, he went to jail, blah, blah, blah. But like nobody knows like the things that would like actually be like, like the only place thing is something that's like, I actually am a little embarrassed of that.
Well,
That's something I like about like people knowing my shit is that like they don't know like the deep cut stuff that would actually be like, oh my God.
I would not have beat Ian if Andrew Hillary hadn't given me that thing about consent. And
if you didn't, if you did not know that Ian Doherty was a sex pest, you would not have.
What are we allowed to talk about?
Not enough people really watch these.
All right, great.
And I don't really care about consequences.
Good.
As long as you don't talk about things that could get me reincarcerated.
Yeah.
Yeah, no jail and no YouTube jail.
YouTube jail. Yeah. What's that lovely woman's name?
Well, we just had Andy Mango on, and he said the C word. He said he went full.
He did.
He tested the moderation.
Andy Mango. Oh, I thought that was a good guy.
He's testing the limits of. Yeah. He left a relic for us.
You should just.
And it's kind of ripe too.
We should get like a mango put in like resin for him to.
Yeah.
As like
a permanent mango.
Yeah. Because he buys those every time he wants a.
He buys one. He buys one
just-
mango.
I just want him to wear a GoPro when he picks it up.
The life.
That's
All right,
his
everybody, I'm
TikTok.
fucking Andy Mango. Okay,
That's his
going into
TikTok
Aldi is like
right
a fucking
there.
video game,
How you
like
doing?
GTA.
How you doing? Yeah, just one. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
one mango.
Yep.
One mango. You never seen a guy get one mango?
Yeah.
What are you fucking
big day.
stupid?
Big
Yeah,
day.
big day.
I like
One mango.
mangoes.
I like mangoes.
Yeah.
So what? So what?
So what?
So what?
So what?
Oh, man.
What is your alt persona gonna be, Brian? What's your alt persona?
I don't think I could get into an alt persona. I don't have that kind of drive to like reinvent myself. Like I'm an extremely lazy person. That's my whole thing.
it is
you
like
know?
it is like kind of like a form of self castration.
Yeah, I think I do find it limiting in some ways. But
Yeah.
What, having a persona?
An alt
yeah,
persona.
I think it would be limiting for me.
I think it's...
Andy makes it work.
No, he does. I think it'd be kind of cool because, like, I had this feeling when I was writing for like the Shindangle, the scat. So we did. So this is Steel City, obviously, but we did this thing for Christmas where we wrote people jokes and then gave them to them as like a white elephant. So like you get one person, you know, and then you swap. But even just like writing for another person was like a lot of fun because you had to like kind of get their voice and you know their sort of. So I think if you had an alternative persona, it almost kind of makes writing easier. Because you're just like, oh, I know the rules of this person's universe.
Yeah.
I wrote more jokes for you than I had written for myself in like 6 months for that
no,
thing.
exactly. Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Because when you're writing, I think when you're writing
That's
for
how-
yourself.
That's how easy it is to get the kind of humor that you're doing, by the way.
Well, no. Well, that's okay. That's another
Well,
thing.
actually,
I just nosy.
if you think about coffee has this ingredient called polyphenols, and if you actually
See, that's the thing. People think I'm like that. Like,
Captain
it's very
America
easy to. Well, I mean, I don't
in a
know. Like,
grocery store.
Spider-Man is like the Prophet Muhammad in the sense that
the last
whenever I
joke
think
I
about-
wrote was about how similar Spider-Man was to Jesus. So,
We all know. We all know.
well, that's. I mean, that's. When people are roasting me, I pretty much know what's coming.
Right.
And it makes retaliating so fucking easy.
That's
Yes.
how-
Like,
that-
oh, I'm black and I know math. Okay,
Yeah.
you got me. It's pretty.
Well, but you're also Hispanic. There's like
No
a
one ever
whole-
says anything
there's
about
a whole
that.
Other layer.
no
to
one
you.
ever.
Chuck did last night. Chuck did well.
Oh,
That was
he's
good.
50% black and 50% Hispanic, so he's 100% not welcome in this
Oh,
country.
Great joke.
Oh, well, actually,
That was a great joke.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck is like low key, kind of like the best roaster in the room.
Oh, that's why
Oh my
he's
God.
so
roast, I
good.
feel like
He's
that's-
just such good
I mean,
starting pistols
I
every
think
time.
I gotta be honest. I think the judging roast was probably like I'm biased. I was in it, but I think that was the best round of roasting
It was very good.
of the either roast.
It was very good.
I thought it was just fun.
Yeah, it was
like
just fun too, yeah.
honestly, doing the original roast and then doing that, it felt like I was doing the roasting, but I didn't have like a ton of bricks on my back.
Right.
Like it felt so
Yeah.
pressurized, especially because we were like right off the gate, first people up
Yeah.
there, first roast. I was just like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one where I was like, oh no, I can just be a bitch now. This is
Me
great.
too. Me
I don't even
too.
care
Yeah.
if he's hit.
And I love like the arms race that's like developing as more roasts happen, where people
Oh
are like,
yeah.
I'm writing for the champion. I'm writing for the person I'm going up. Like there's like the number of roasts is just growing. There's like a singularity that we're approaching.
Yeah.
It does have a cult thing going for it right now. I feel like, which is cool.
Yeah.
I think I might be in the next one. It all depends if we want to get a guest host.
I kind of want to.
Eric Muthami was going to be on for takes
For-
Georgia's spot,
Right.
and then if
For judging.
for judging, and then if Ron, Chuck wants to ask Ron Renwick
Oh, that would be cool.
Ooh.
if you want, and Ron Renwick would
That'd be
probably
dope.
tap me,
The
and then I
prodigal
would do
son.
the next roast,
That would
Very
be
cool.
cool. Yeah.
or me and Chuck might co-host from here on out,
That would be nice.
because it is a lot for him to, like I do a lot behind the scenes, and then but on day of, it's a lot for him to.
He's got to do a lot of
It's just
stuff.
a lot of stuff. you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Ron does a great job of introing comics at
Scarps,
at
yeah.
Scarps and
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
ripping
he's-
people there. So
Yeah, he comes up with little.
yeah.
You know, what'd be kind of cool is when the weather warms up, we could do like the roast outside, but then have like barbecue, make it like an outdoor.
Oh,
They
yeah.
do a fire pit out there. Yeah.
That would be so.
I think after the next one, me and Chuck have talked about we want to start like theming them. a
Right,
bit.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you had like a cowboy thing going on last night.
That's
Yeah.
just how he dresses.
Yeah, well, I
That's
always
just-
try to be a character at least for the,
Yeah.
you know.
He loves
but
playing
you,
dress up.
You and Trevor kind of synergized on that. I felt like it was like a Republican national convention.
Yeah,
or
I
something.
almost wore my flannel there, and then I was like, I'm not giving them what they
Brian,
want.
that's just
Yeah.
who these people are.
I know,
That's,
I know.
that's really.
I will wear a cowboy hat to Cabo tonight.
What is that thing that you
Shout
had?
out Latin Club Strip District.
You had that little like
Stripper
that
district.
cowboy pendant thing. What's that called again?
Bolo tie.
Bolo
yeah,
tie.
it was a fake bolo
You
tie.
didn't have
It
a
was
bolo
cool.
tie. But it was
No,
like
you
a
did.
pendant.
It was a
wasn't
pendant, but
What?
it played the role of
Yeah,
a
but
fake
it had,
bolo
it
tie.
had little fringes coming
Yeah.
out. I love cowboys. I think
Yeah.
they're so cool.
We know, dude. It's
Gay
stuff.
Yeah, actually, cowboys were very gay.
uh-huh.
Good. That doesn't take it away from.
Yeah,
Don't
I mean,
take. It doesn't
I'm
take
just
anything.
saying.
Okay,
do you guys
man.
have any?
I like that's fine.
What are you
It's
trying
fine.
to
I'm fine. It's
rationalize?
fine. It's fine.
As the producer
The
of the thing,
homophobic
what
podcast.
do you guys think there's anything that could be changed about the
Serious.
roast, or any notes from the roast, or
Oh shit! I forgot. I have your
My coin?
coin somewhere.
that's okay.
I don't know
Yeah.
where it's
Get to
at
what we
though.
do.
I felt like the structure of this one worked way better than the first time because we gave people time in between the rounds
Did-
to write for the people.
Was there
Yeah.
time between 1 and 2?
No.
Could-
No, that was the
could-
only one that there wasn't.
Could there be?
I mean, I'm for that. Chuck and Trevor are against that just because they want to keep the thing flowing.
Well, yeah.
Well,
'cause
if there's a
that's-
thing, because you guys had the judge round before the last thing.
Well, the difference is after the first round, technically, like the people who were at the top left of the bracket had just had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows to sit through, which is probably like around 20 minutes at least, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's enough time for them to write.
Right. Oh, that's true.
So
Yeah.
So it's supposed to give everybody they have their time.
I just, my only thing is like I want, because like the first round is so good, and then like it does just go down because you have very little time and you just don't. I'm not. This is
Yeah.
not a knock. This is just a structural thing.
No,
yeah, and I guess
100%,
some
yeah.
people probably want to watch the other roasts to make sure, like, if somebody goes up, if like
Something-
somebody's already done something
Yeah.
or
Right.
Yeah.
something
that
to
kind of a
latch
thing.
onto.
I don't know.
too.
Yeah, it's just a balance of, because definitely when you're up there, you can tell.
You
When we take intermissions, it takes the audience like 2 minutes to re-engage, even when we start talking on
Yeah,
mic.
no, I mean,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think it would be too early to take an intermission for the audience sake.
Between 1 and 2.
Yeah, because like
I-
you just
yeah, I
start
kind of
getting
agree.
going, and then all of a sudden it would be a
Stop.
stoppage.
Yeah.
And technically, I think also we definitely said this during the first one in like the rules, social media posts or whatever. But like we can make it more explicit in the next one. You really should have already you could definitely have already pre-prepared for round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
No,
it's
that's a good
only
point.
2 other people. you
Yeah.
know?
You're really writing just 2 sets of
So
things.
you really should come into the roast with at least 3, being prepared for 3 people.
yeah, a
Yeah.
snack, some water, an
Yeah.
extra pencil, a sharpener.
Pete told me he didn't have anything for me. I think we were touching on this before, but I think I benefited from having no like comedian social media presence or like clips of myself at like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or material. or-
yeah, well, any kind of success whatsoever. But yeah, it is nice. Like I looked through his Instagram and then I walked. Like it was a good exercise in like social media stalking. you
Yeah.
know?
yeah.
Will you get me
Hey babe, can you give me that champagne?
Can you get me a Coca-Cola, please? Coca-Cola.
Oh,
Chop
man.
chop.
I might
How
give you
long-
an
No, just
apple
kidding.
juice.
How long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing comedy.
Oh,
I'll take
sorry.
I'll
we
take
can
a Coke.
No,
again.
that's
fast.
all right.
We're taking a pop break, everybody.
We don't edit these, by
Sody,
the way.
sody pop. That's
I-
fine. I don't care.
I don't cut
You
anything
call
out.
it pop or soda? And,
Soda.
Uh,
Well, that was.
I call it pop, but I changed to soda when I moved to Denver.
call him
'cause
Dad.
People started.
I
This
call
is
it.
gonna-
I call
you're-
it pop.
Yeah.
Great job,
pop.
Yvonne.
That was.
I forgot.
You forgot? You're a physics major and you forgot about pressure, dog?
I'm a physics
Oh, is it
graduate.
spraying?
Not spraying, but it's just
Oh.
it is leaking.
We'll address.
This is what you
Yeah.
get when you have a friend who likes to fucking embarrass you in public.
Disgusting.
You're that friend for a lot of people. I don't think you
I
realize
am
that.
actually. That
No,
is-
I was talking about him.
No, I am. Definitely am. I'm conscious about it. The
To
worst
get
thing about Zevon is he's barely conscious.
back to your question,
Yes.
Georgia, I started stand up like right before the pandemic really took off.
In Pittsburgh?
No, in well, I guess I was home for the pandemic. It was this bar like sort of near my parents' house in the middle of like rural Pennsylvania, which is not where I'm from, but where I was going, and it was awful. It was atrocious. It was like all comedians who hated each other.
Oh,
It was
amazing.
like the same. They were there every Monday night just to like glower at who was ever on stage.
This is near Philly, right?
Yeah, this place called Phoenixville.
Gotcha.
Where The Blob was filmed,
Oh.
in case anybody cares.
Name
yeah.
drop.
Yeah, famous for that. I don't know. But yeah, then I would go to mics in Philly. I would make the drive to Philly, and I would sign up, and then I would just leave because I would get too nervous.
Gotcha. That is
I
that is the one nice thing about Pittsburgh. I mean, like, say what you will, but I mean, Pittsburgh scene is probably smaller than some people would like it. But I think basically everybody really likes each other.
yeah.
It's a great hang scene.
The
well,
roast was
except
yeah.
for you know.
I mean,
got a
there's always
list.
those little
redacted,
exceptions,
redacted,
Yeah,
but
redacted.
very little
but like
exceptions.
I think
Short
overall
exceptions.
though, like I never felt unsafe,
Right.
fully unsafe at a Pittsburgh mic, and
Well, so that is a new phenomenon.
Oh.
That is like very because like right before we pretty much all started in like 2018, 2019, there was a guy who his name was John Dick Winters.
Hell yeah.
Have you heard of him?
No.
He was like
Me neither.
he was like the gatekeeper. And that's another thing is like there's not any one person now who
Yeah.
control like you can't get on
Yeah.
anything.
There's no gatekeeping in Pittsburgh comedy, which I think isn't. Well, I mean, like no explicit like.
You can
we
go
don't want
around a
that
lot of
guy.
those gates.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this one guy, he basically was like, if you wanted to get on the Improv, if you wanted to get in Club Cafe, if you wanted to do
Yeah.
really anything substantial that wasn't just like your own room, you had to get through this guy. And this guy was like sexually harassing people. I think he was accused of rape, and he just got mewed out of here.
You're saying there's a
Opening.
a vacuum.
Yeah.
Power
A
vacuum.
power vacuum.
He got Thanos snapped.
He did.
Well, yeah, I think the only
Did you say Mewtwo'd also instead of Me Too'd?
I might have.
That's pretty awesome.
I think you
That's
did-
a great slogan.
I thought you were making some kind of
Mewtwo.
I thought you were making some kind of Pokemon deep cut.
You are the ultimate life form.
thought that was the me
Show
too
your
for
tits.
you too.
But I
You
think
too.
I think the only glass ceiling in Pittsburgh right now is just like a reputational glass ceiling, and that just in the sense of like if people generally don't like you, and I'm thinking of one particular small fella,
Right.
not him, then you won't get booked because
Adolf.
just people don't like you.
Well, another thing I think. Actually, go ahead, Brian.
I just want to say
Redacted,
it
by the
is
way.
funny to be sitting here at SCAF and having this
Such a pleasure.
conversation. It's
Thank you,
nice.
Alyssa. Thank you,
for
Steve
having me.
Hofstetter.
I love you guys. There is some kind of a closed door thing that seems to go on here as a person who's not in it. You know,
Well,
so
so
I'm not trying to
part
suck
of
any
that-
cocks.
No,
and
no, no,
get
that's a
in,
good
Part
but-
of that is like, so like the reason that the mom mic is a members only thing and you have to be invited is because they quite literally cannot have outside guests
Right.
because of zoning rules.
Right.
yeah.
So it has to be a very specific, like you can't just show up kind of a thing, but they're getting the zoning fixed in June.
Hell yeah.
Right.
And then the
Are
upstairs
they?
here is
Is
gonna
that the
yeah,
schedule?
it's gonna be in June. And then as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, Alyssa, we love you. You're our favorite.
Alyssa, I
But-
love you too. I'm sorry.
But they want upstairs in the church to be a performance space.
Awesome.
So it'll be something that grows like
Yeah.
It's got lighting for it and stuff. I saw when we were walking.
No,
by.
I think one thing
is an awesome God
one thing that I think is really
reigns.
cool is it kind of feels like also like the older comics, and I say older, I mean like people who are maybe
Aaron Douglas.
yeah.
He's the real
Um,
gatekeeper. He's a real gatekeeper.
No, I mean like people who are 7, 8, 9 years in, so like a couple of rungs up the thing.
George Foldhouse.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like they are very good about absorbing feedback about who's good and who's not.
Yeah.
Like even like Joey Welsh, he was kind of coming off the show that I was on with him, and then he came to the roast, and he was sort of just like watching it happen. And these were like people who were newer, people who were whatever, and he's like, oh, I didn't know. Okay, like this person's someone good, this one, and he's just kind of like acknowledging it. But I feel like Pittsburgh stand-up is more democratic. Like people actually like pay attention to who
Sure.
is liked and who is.
I also think that after this last year, I 100% think there's like a new school.
Yeah.
It's us
The
and
French New Wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Right.
Chuck and like this kind of class of there's
Yeah.
like about 15.
No,
of
I
us.
think of it in classes too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would-
kind of actually.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, you kind of group together. I think about this a lot, but you group together with people who are around your comedic age.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it doesn't have to be actual age.
No, no,
it's
no.
comedic age. And I think it helps you though because you're like you end up like grouping up with people who are writing similar to the level that you're at. So you're not with
Mhm.
somebody who
So you can stay bad
you
for a really
can't
long
help
time.
their jokes at all because you're not there yet.
Yeah.
Or you're not just like carrying their piece of it.
Like, is my face completely darkened?
Not completely.
you always look
Okay.
like you're
just
about
a little bit.
Just
your eyes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like I look
yeah.
like a serial killer. Hi, I'm here.
roast.
Yeah. Actually, that
roast
happened.
you.
There's a mic at the bridge in
Oh,
yeah,
in
East
Highland
Liber-
Park or
East
yeah,
Liber-
East Liberty.
which I would never recommend. No, it's fine. But Yeah, see, I'm putting my foot in my mouth a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
But the stage lights only go so far back, and the stage is really deep. And I was standing there telling a joke that sort of ends in like a sexually aggressive punchline about golf, and the just like completely in darkness except for my hands.
Lighting matters.
It was
Yeah.
very Machiavellian. I was there for that.
So,
I
man.
can imagine.
Yeah.
it was a good
Okay.
time. Shout out to the bridge.
The bridge. Are they
So-
still doing stuff?
I don't know.
I don't
No,
think so.
I mean,
Uh,
I think they're just
Who was
they're a very new venue.
Who was the
Yeah.
guy running that? I forget. Was Zach?
Was it Eben?
It was
No, it wasn't Eben.
Zach Bottle Rocket guy,
Zach
Oh,
Funk.
Zach De La Rocca.
but it was an Amanda Averill number.
right.
He was just helping her.
Gotcha.
Was she? She was never there.
She was like a
was
producer though.
Oh, okay.
She was,
Right now
like,
the
she was the
East-
one who was trying to put that
Oh
on.
wait, I did that show. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Sorry, my brain broke there for a
But
second.
yeah,
but
it was
yeah.
the one that me and Brian went to. It was like an open mic, and then
Mm.
they were gonna try to start doing shows.
And they had
That's what you were on,
it
I
was a
think.
multi
Yeah.
it was a mixed mic, so a guy
Yeah.
came on and performed rap afterwards.
Cool.
The stage was amazing. That's an amazing space.
Yeah.
It's like the stage is like a $20,000 stage.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
deep that, like it's
Yeah.
like
It
the
is,
size of
yeah.
this room.
You could definitely. I
Yeah.
remember being like, I'm just gonna shove forward and
Yeah.
hope that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Mm.
So Brian, in like a tierless fashion, starting like F tier up to S tier, who do you like in Pittsburgh comedy? Who do you?
I like everybody in
I
Pittsburgh.
love how
comedy.
we bait every guest into
I
complimenting
feel like I
us.
keep
Yeah.
saying things like I'm like, yeah, fuck this person, and then
Yeah.
like blah blah blah. But no, I hate everybody equally, and I think that we should all rot in hell for different reasons. But
That is so brave, sweetie.
thank you.
Sweetie, are so brave, and I'm doing my only place thing again. Fuck.
It's okay.
This guy is my cancer. He's gonna be the death of me.
He's gonna cut me out.
All my
um,
fans, don't look up Only Plays.
Your mom's gonna start watching Only Plays.
Honey, I think you're kind of a hack.
I think we would have me and my mom.
Honey,
Would have,
I've heard everything you've said in the
me
last
and my
few
mom would
se-
have a much better relationship if she watched.
She
Only
watched Only
Plays.
Plays.
at the dinner table. Yeah.
Tomar.
I'm not trying to talk you
Toma,
out of doing
Toma.
comedy. I just think you should do your own comedy.
Couldn't
Oh,
be.
okay, Mark Normand.
Thank you.
Plus fucking.
Do you think I'm Mark Normand-esque?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
I
I don't know. I think you just kind of look. I think you just kind of look like him.
Yeah, I feel like he's a lot faster and quippier than I am.
Yeah, he is a professional comedian.
No, but I mean
Was.
like his style is like shorter, and I would like to do
No,
like
I mean I can kind of see it.
I like.
I would like to start talking. I would like to talk about this. Yeah. What are you trying to go? What's your goals in comedy and everything?
Well, so at first I was like, just write short jokes,
Yeah.
And then I listened, and I had listened to it as a kid, but I re-listened to Daniel Tosh's special. He's got like a halo or something, but he
Yeah.
does all
Oh,
these
yeah.
really. They're like rapid fire and very short, punchy lines, but really long and aggressive bits. You
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
Where he like describes what he would do if he was on MTV Cribs and stuff like that, and it goes on. It's like 5-10 minutes with one bit, in our, I say 5 to 10 minutes, and that's obviously a big difference in our little circle. But
Yeah.
it just blew my mind how unique the style was, 'cause and so self-aware. And I would love to be able to do something like that. I've tried to write jokes like that, but I just can't figure it out.
Who did you grow up watching? Stand up wise.
Daniel Tosh and of course Stan Cook,
Mhm.
and Louis. I mean, I would love to be able to do what he does, which is jack off in front of women without their consent.
Yeah, it's hard to do that in
Shout out.
2023.
Yeah,
Shout out Scaff. Shout out people who
Oh, God.
let us do this.
yeah, no, but I think Louis. One time I was talking to a guy about this at a bar. And we had just met that night, and he was like really hammered, and he was like, "It's Louis C.K. or it's nothing, dude. Don't ever put." And it was like right after the Louis stuff had broke. And
It's like
I
if
was-
you ain't first, you're
Yeah.
last.
It
All
was
right.
like,
It's amazing how there's like core groups of fans for like people just in anything, and they'll like I'm just thinking of like Chris D'Elia. Like he still has.
We're all thinking of Chris.
We're all thinking of Chris D'Elia all the time because he looks like Trevor Austin. But
He looks like a ghoul, dude. He like looks like an
Yeah.
evil scarecrow.
he
doesn't.
does. He looks like a Dark Souls boss.
Yeah, he's got a horrible look. That's why you're kind of like.
Give me
This,
your- give me
this,
your
is,
Snapchat.
This is
the guy?
him.
Yeah.
Give me your Snapchat handle.
Yeah.
I'll take it from you with my fucking fees.
I've never been a Chris D'Elia fan, and that's not.
I didn't even hear about him until this week. I
it's
just
not
I just watched a video on it. It was crazy.
a video of him jacking off on Snapchat.
Well, if you have that link, I would also like that.
Who do you guys like? Who do you like listen to now? I mean, or
That's
who
a good
did you
question.
grow up listening to? Whatever.
Growing up, for me, it was
Steve Martin.
no,
Oh,
actually
damn
no. I found him. I found his stand up to be kind of, but his movies are cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like his movies. Chappelle. I used to like Lopez,
Yeah.
but that was mostly a nostalgia thing. We would just watch him at home. Same kind of for Chappelle. We'd like watch his show. We'd watch Killing Them Softly. I watched a lot of stand up like with my family, and I would like have people like come over to watch stand up. Like we'd play outside. I'd be like, "Come over. We're watching Fluffy. We're watching Chappelle. We're watching."
Fluffy.
Yeah, just
I
like,
remember watching Fluffy. That
Gabriel
takes me back.
Iglesias.
So
Yeah.
you're saying you watched Dave Chappelle and you watched George Lopez. So you're like half black and half
Half ma-
Hispanic.
No, well, so no, that's what I like when I was real little. But then like when I was in,
You grew out of it.
well, yeah, certainly,
Now you're mostly white.
yeah, mostly incredible. Well, 7th and 8th grade, that's when I really started like listening to stand up, like going for like 2-hour walks when my step parents fought, and that was when I got into Mulaney, Birbiglia, Carlin, and then, but nowadays, I don't really. I think as far as like the stuff I listen to now is mostly
Bamford.
Maria Bamford.
Oh, so good.
Is she a contemporary comic?
gosh.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does a special. You have to watch it. I love it so much. Where she just performs to her parents
Yeah.
in a living room,
It's
and
fucking-
it's amazing.
That sounds
Yeah.
brutal. That sounds.
Oh.
People
so
talk about
brutal.
Inside like it was some like revelation. Like, yeah, well,
Yeah.
Bamford got there first.
I think for me, like growing up, it's interesting. You guys talking about that from that lens of like watching like TV or whatever. Because I was a big like I'd never liked. I've said it at length on this podcast, so I won't go back into it. But I never liked stand up. I always thought stand up was like kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But I loved Chappelle's show.
Mhm.
I loved Colbert Report, Daily Show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
watched a lot of Tosh.0, but thinking back on that phase, like actually, like I kept up to date with like Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
Like, in like the
On
20,
Yeah.
on
in, like,
YouTube
in like the
or-
2010
Oh,
to
yeah.
like 2014
YouTube
era.
and Vine, yeah.
Like and through that, I think I probably ended up watching a couple of his piano specials.
Well, you're
Uh,
like an MDE guy, right? Like a Sam Hyde guy.
Yeah, that was later though.
Yeah.
I mean, I started watching Sam Hyde in probably 2017, 2016, just when he started doing a bunch of those things, like especially during Million Dollar Extreme.
Yeah. Yeah. What is that? $1 Million Extreme World something.
World Peace was the name of the show.
Yeah. World Peace
MDE is like the name of their group.
Yeah.
And Tim and I guess middle school, Tosh, and then, but then like Tim and Eric's show was like my biggest. Tim and Eric
Mhm.
is probably my biggest. I can't really do any of that obviously on stage.
Yeah.
In the era for like that kind of zany, bizarro,
Off-putting.
like kind of that phase of internet humor is kind of gone. Tim and Eric, but obviously it was the biggest thing.
Yeah. Like
Wait,
the
yeah.
Dr. Steve Brule show and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Steve
Rules,
Brule.
rules.
Yeah.
And then like when I started, if I did watch stand up, I would watch like John Mulaney with my sisters.
Yeah.
And then I always thought that like that was fucking
I took a
girl comedy.
long
Yeah.
time off
Yeah.
of watching comedy at all. Like my friends watched. My friend Kevin watched Daniel Tosh and Dan Cook, and we would like watch the clips on YouTube and stuff like that. But I never like engaged with it on my own until after I saw that John Mulaney special at like a party, the
Which one?
New in Town.
Yeah.
Right.
But-
And
but-
that was like
yeah.
4 years after it had come out. It was
Right.
I think
So-
the only comic I ever saw that I was like, man, I would love to do that was like Mike Birbiglia.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
My
like-
girlfriend's boyfriend.
Yeah, some of his like very vulnerable things. Where
Yeah.
he would tell these. It wasn't even stand up to me.
It's like
it
his
was
journals.
Yeah.
It was like these big overarching stories, but they had callbacks. They had all the fucking inner machinations of stand up comedy, but like
Mhm.
it wasn't stand up really. And I was
Mhm.
like, this is amazing.
With something like that, so like, the
George,
this,
we did not forget about you.
Oh.
No, we're good.
did you want to?
Continue.
Well, I was
now.
just gonna. So this is just a question, and this is like an open forum thing. But with something like that, like our molecules for how we test stuff out is the open mic and the open mic format, 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 minutes. So something like that. Do you think This is honest. I have no prerogative with this question, but like, do you think with something like that, you just kind of write the whole goddamn thing?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I think you can test pieces of it,
Right.
but like I am somebody that like when I just started writing like a 5-minute story, writing a 10-minute, like that's kind of how my quote unquote show set was built, was like being like, I try to have that hero's journey. It's like part of it. Like you have this vision of like, this is the story I want to tell. Now, how do I break down and dig into these different parts
And
of it?
punch
And
it up and-
I think you can like use mics to dig into what you can use throughout, but like you almost have to have that grander vision above it to be able to do that.
Yeah, see, you're I was talking to Zevon about this because you have a very like interesting and dedicated way of writing that I can't fathom, because
I've never been called dedicated.
But you record everything, right? Which I try to do, but I don't. Well, I never succeeded.
I never do regularly.
And you write all your jokes beforehand, like you know what you're going to say, and I don't know. I was thinking about it. We were talking about it a little bit better than this. This makes for great podcast when you're like, I forget what the fuck I was saying. But
I mean, I've always said like the way that Georgia writes is like kind of like top down
narrative,
and like I'm the opposite. I'm just like I get little bits.
Yeah,
and then I go and just work these bits.
Most of the shit, most of the way that I've written jokes is I tweet them, and then I'm like, we've got 1 like. That's pretty good. I'll say that on stage.
Fucking killer.
I think I've always been like a more story-oriented person. Like that's how my parents are. Like every story they tell is this grandiose event.
Yeah, like let me tell
like
you.
Like they have a full structure to it.
I got caught shoplifting at the Chevy dealership.
And like honestly, like when like this is gonna get a little meta, but like when crazy shit would happen when I was a kid, my mom could always turn it into some kind of grander lesson. They were like, there's always a lesson to be learned. And now I've just taken that and I'm like, there's always a joke to be told.
Right.
Like for whatever the thing is. But I record every set. I listen to every set. Sometimes if it's a terrible one, it takes me a few days, but I'll still listen to it. I catch those little things. But the other thing is like, what I've learned is I feel like I've bulked up the original material that I had. Like I find those extra tags. I find a way to connect to things that maybe I thought weren't connected. But sometimes that traps me into not trying new things. Yeah. So it's a give and take on that, because like I'm working on some new stuff now and I feel like I don't know how to weave that into this narrative, because I was trying to like do this bigger story, but then I realized like I wrote myself into a gay corner. Yeah. But I mean, I have other things to say other than that, you know?
But that was later in life, right? You didn't come out until you were in your 20s.
No. I came out as soon as I got out of my parents' house.
It's funny you said like a corner like that or whatever. I think I have like the opposite, or I definitely have a think about this even since yesterday at the roast. I don't have like a vulnerability corner, or like I am so of an era where like Gen Z, early young millennial, like irony. Like I don't think I could go on stage and say like genuinely what I feel and think about without feeling like deeply uncomfortable.
I can't do that. So there's a difference, right? Because like I will write jokes about myself, but they're all observations that were kind of on the table for anybody to take. I just I grabbed them, I wrote them, whatever. But nobody couldn't. There's nothing about my material that's like no one could do that, or it couldn't be told by someone else.
Damn, dude, you've got low self-esteem.
Well, I mean, it's so I think but what I mean is like there's nothing. You know, I'm just good at using the everyday materials. I'm not saying I have any. But anyway, point being is, but any time I actually get on stage and I even for a second genuinely describe like how I'm feeling in that moment, it immediately goes to shit.
Well, yeah.
If I'm like frustrated or I'm like flustered and I say it like fucking anything that alludes to it, like I just throw up, and so I just avoid it. I don't even.
And Brian, you're Catholic, so what are your thoughts about expressing
vulnerability?
So I've been to like 1,200 universities for creative writing or whatever.
Yeah.
And And actually, Gary Shandling, if you guys know him at all,
It sounds familiar.
He's that HBO show, the Larry Sanders Show. It's phenomenal. But he was a great, like, 70s comic or whatever. Maybe not. Maybe 80s. Anyway, he has this thing about, and this is something that they sort of teach you in creative writing, is that you're always writing about yourself. Like, there's no way to not.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if you're just using, like, whatever you think is obvious or what, you're still in there.
Yeah.
And Louis C.K. talks about it, too. But,
Well, I think Johnny Carson at one point said, like, comedians leak.
yeah.
So, like, we could all write a joke about a piece of soap, but it's...
Yeah, but you're inherently going to make it your own.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't worry so much about like that kind of express. I'm not going to get up there and be like, I cried when my dog died when I was 12.
Yeah.
But
I just mean, like, I think I've just been watching.
you punch it up.
Do you guys watch do you guys watch Theo
I did
Vaughn?
find him in the backyard.
I think
God damn.
Do you guys watch Theo Vaughn at all?
I
Every now and then.
not
I started
really.
watching his podcast and I really like it.
Well, just like he'll do these things, like he does. Obviously, he does stand up and he does like kind of Southern style story. You know, went down to the bayou, blah, blah, like that kind of stuff. But then he'll have like these podcasts where like we'll just have like callers call in or whatever, and they'll be like, man, and like he's like a sober guy, like he had substance abuse issues with like alcohol or whatever, and they'll call and he's have like these like grown men crying on his podcast. And he'll just like embrace them like over the phone, like
Emotionally.
you know.
They-
emotionally.
Right.
And I would like, I'm such a piece of shit. I think I would be like, I think I'd be
I
fucking
think-
rude.
I think that's what I like about his podcast,
Yeah,
though. Like,
yeah.
you sent it to me because you were like, I think you'll resonate with this. But like, I've just always been somebody who, like, I simply do not have the filter, like the protection filter, because I am like, I remember
you're from the South.
Well, I remember actually thinking when I was a kid, I was like, I don't have a secret. I don't have
Yeah.
a secret. And then I was gay. But like before that, I was like, I don't have any secrets. That's crazy. And I've just always been a very like open, let's talk about it kind
Yeah,
of person.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just bleeds onto the stage. Like I don't know how to not do that, but I think also my comedy comes from I learned through the years that if you just overshare everything, people get turned off by it and you're just annoying.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
You have
But
to find a happy medium.
if
right?
you find a way to make that message like funny or you like add in this piece to it and make it interesting,
Well,
then it's
I always feel, I mean, this is just like a personal thing, but I always feel like people who hide things are so arrogant. Like, oh, you know, like when people are so jealous of personal details, like they won't show their face and they won't. I mean, if you're genuinely afraid someone
You
is
guys
gonna
are
like,
gonna have to block out my face
But-
for
Yeah,
this
like,
podcast. And
my
distort
name is
my
Brian,
voice.
bro.
Yeah. No, don't say. Don't
I
say
do
my name.
think I do think there's something too, like though, like my oversharing when I was a kid partially was because I after I had my big secret and realized I was gay,
It was a secret from
you
yourself.
you like you direct people in other directions from like the core things. So like I
Yeah.
have other things that I want to talk about, but I don't like on stage, but I don't think I'm there yet as a writer to
Yeah.
make those
Yeah.
palpable yet.
So yeah, I think for me, I feel the same way. Like there's stuff that I think, like even when I talk about my family, again, it's just fucking. If I just showed you pictures of these people, you could write the same jokes I wrote. There's no seriously. There's nothing about anything I say up there that's like unique to me.
I doubt that. I highly doubt that's true. And the way that you talk about your dad on stage definitely disproves what you're
Well,
saying.
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe if you, I'm just saying,
You
like,
know them.
That's
Yeah.
I know them, but it's like I know them from a comedic standpoint as this is a fiery Latina, this is a cool black guy. Like they're almost like caricatures. But I've tried to write bits about like breakups or like fights that I've gotten into, and it's just
Yeah.
like it's not like it's not the feeling of like I could never share this. Like, I don't want people to know. It's not so much that. It's more just like my brain kind of doesn't like I'll write about it and I'll look at the paper and I'm like, this is fucking
Well,
gobbledygook.
don't you think like a lot of comedy is just like minimizing things down? Like
Oh, like this
you
was
have
not a big
to-
deal.
Yeah, you have to sort of present it as something that is innocent enough to be funny. you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You're not.
Right.
I think there's almost a part of me too that thinks like, I think it's almost like disrespectful of the audience's time
Yeah.
in a certain way to be like,
I do hate comedians who get on stage and just talk about their problems. You're like,
yeah. I just mean like, especially since like, I mean like if you had an hour-long special and you wanted to dive into something
yeah.
for some like go for it. I think
There are
But also,
people who
like,
can
you know,
do it.
yeah, like,
you
but we're
know.
on stage for 5 minutes, and overall our goal should be to entertain and to hopefully to make
Yeah.
people laugh.
Mhm.
And so I think if part of it's like, because there definitely are people who go on stage and then
They just
they
vomit.
they obliquely are kind of vomiting their
Yeah.
problem
Yeah.
onto people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
the
y-
first
and it's
6
just
months I
not-
did comedy. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean that's
Uh,
fine. It's a very
We were
common
talking
thing.
about you without saying
Yeah,
your
yeah,
name.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
We're-
it's
We're,
just
we're gonna blur
Now
you.
that
I
it's
like
out-
to
now
think
that
that
it's
I
out in
write
the
at least
open.
3 punches when I'm running a new thing because I'm
Yeah.
like, but seriously, I tried to do a bit about my grandma fell.
Yeah.
I was frustrated with my family. I was like, there is something here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this funny. But the first 2 weeks I ran it, it was just me being like, my grandma fell.
just describing the situation.
Yeah, and just like
yeah.
but what I was gonna tell you is like when you're digging into like if you want to talk about a breakup, if you want to talk about these things, the first thing you have to do is to make sure that you've dealt with your own shit
Right.
before you put it out there. And
Right.
it took 2 therapy sessions of me talking about my grandma
Oh, yeah.
for me to actually get to a point where I could be like, okay, now I'm enough away from this that
Yeah.
I can go back into the feeling.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why we're
And
here on the
do it.
couch now. We're
Yeah,
having
this
a
is the
little-
Exactly.
this is the
But
casting
I-
couch.
This is it.
I
Everybody
swear-
spread your pussy flaps right
When
now.
I-
Let's start.
Right.
first started,
There it is.
I had a line. I was like, "This is cheaper than therapy," which I know is hack, whatever. But like, I really treated it like that. But then
Logan.
I did therapy.
You cannot yell at me, fucking chin scratcher.
I'm just saying, it's
Logan,
if there's 2 troublemakers,
you
it's
look
worse.
like a little boy.
That's
like,
why I
you
love
need
doing a
pinwheel
podcast with
hat
these
with
two.
That lollipop in your mouth and everything. It's very.
It's literally like
Daddy,
C3.
daddy,
It's C3PO and
daddy.
R2D2.
Oh, he plays.
That's
Daddy,
us.
No, it's just
Who's C3PO? Oh,
Me.
You two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't like only plays, but you don't even know about Star Wars. Okay.
Wow.
Fuck
Fucking,
No,
who's that?
I
Do you
know
think-
who they are.
Oh,
I
wait.
know
Question
who are
question
you.
for
He's
question for
R2D2.
everybody.
Yeah, I see the
my
Everybody.
final
So-
point was that therapy makes your comedy better.
Thank you.
All right.
Therapy.
true.
Well, actually, no.
Therapy makes
No,
you
no, no,
gay. That's all I'm saying.
I
That's
actually
why.
I have the opposite view. Just so people know,
Let's
I
talk to
think therapy
God.
is fucking the worst thing that's ever happened.
It's because
to-
you're broken.
No,
it doesn't work on you.
I am like, well,
You're
sure.
never truly broken. There's a whole part of you that's still in
Not true. Some
I
people
truly
should
think
just
therapy's
give up.
bad.
That's true. I sort of tend to agree with you, but I'm not.
No, I do
Yeah.
EMDR though, and I believe in that.
What's EMDR?
It's
Oh, here we go.
I'm
I'm sorry.
I'm
the listeners know. You can fast forward 2 minutes.
No,
all right?
no, you can.
That's
But
when you watch
it's-
pornography.
It's one where you go into a memory, a deep traumatic memory, and you edit it, and then you take away. It's desensitization to like if you have like a trauma memory that pops up all the time.
Okay.
You go into it, you fix it, and then your dreams sort it out with your subconscious. So it's subconscious therapy instead of conscious therapy. So then I like have like I have to tap my legs and like have bilateral beats going,
Okay.
and it like puts you into like a trance, and then you fix this
See,
thing.
my only point
Wow.
is antelopes don't need therapy, and therefore we don't.
They have
Yeah, no, that's because
brain,
they
though. Yeah,
naturally
they're not-
work through
they're not
their
conscious.
vagus nerve.
Wasn't it gazelle? We had
Yeah.
a set that you called yourself a gazelle.
I just said we are just animals.
We're just animals.
We
That's
are,
all
but,
we are.
That's
but our
true.
brain gets in the way of our actual trauma response because when
getting
they
to
play
some-
dead, they shake it out and they get through their fight or flight and release their trauma.
But I'm
and
like
then they're
that.
good.
We're
I
getting
am like
through.
that.
You're like
Well,
we're-
good.
This is some metaphysical shit I
it's
was not
good shit.
prepared for.
Sorry.
My,
No,
my,
it's
anyway,
fine.
my next
I'm
question. My
happy.
question was going to be: do you guys think that comics, us as a group of people, do you think we come off as emotionally stunted to the? I mean, sometimes,
That's
Yeah.
uh,
or are we deeper than that?
everybody's everything. It's not. That's like not a fair question in some ways because like. You have to express yourself somehow. Some people do it by playing solitaire for like 9 to 12 hours a day, and other people do it by
It's also
every
that a
once in a
piano?
while.
Was
going
that a
to an
cell
open
phone?
mic. What?
Is
No,
a
that
cell
was
phone?
for my mom. If you're watching this, I
Stop.
see you. Get off the computer. Call your son. Not me, your other son, but
or your other son.
we're the other son.
other
Yeah. Whoever you're thinking of, the other one.
Well, it's also like what we do is so public. So like if everyone has like a certain normal level of emotional stuntedness, the only people who will know about it or who they will know about are comedians.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I
it's
mean?
Like, yeah, the thing. We're sort of touching on like the reason for the art or whatever like that. But, like when you read like a Stephen King novel and all of the characters are writers or English
They're all
teachers.
Stephen King.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you're always talking about yourself.
Right.
So back to the Gary Shandling thing, he was like, his jokes are just like jokes. Like he has a a joke about going to the bank and getting a free pen, and then he takes out the pen with the like wire on it or whatever. They're silly, like they're ridiculous, but he feels like that's talking about himself.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
yeah, so you sort of have to come to terms with the fact that like you're either deep or you're not. You know,
Yeah.
like you're not.
So what is it? I mean, what does it even mean to be deep?
I was gonna say,
it
What is a
doesn't really
deep
mean
person?
Anything.
Yeah.
like
We're
I
all-
think it's kind of like, for me, I feel like the deeper I get, the more like in the weeds you get, the more
Yeah.
emotions, all of that,
Yeah.
and it's almost like more. Like you almost go so deep that you get back to surface level.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Like you're
digging
able
to
to-
China, you like pop out.
Yeah,
I think when deep comes off bad, it's like it comes off as show don't
self-serving.
show don't tell.
Yeah.
When you're like deep in like a very vacuous way, I think it comes off as like tell. But there's a
Sure.
way to be like very show about deep. Like I don't know. There's this joke I have now that I think there's definitely something there. Like I was in line with Matt Bowe at an ice cream parlor.
The
then-
worst ice cream parlor.
Oh.
And this
Yeah.
this dad, we're like like part of the line where you're like curving around a bit.
Yeah.
So me and Matt Bowe are going around that, so people behind us are like scooting in, and this little girl takes like an extra step. There's like a little bit of my personal space or whatever, and then her dad, who's like a young dad, he's like, "Oh, she just wanted to stand next to her friend."
Mm-hmm.
To me,
Mhm.
and in the actual moment, I just like pretended like it didn't happen and just ignored the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that is
But
awkward.
I thought of it like as like getting down to one knee and be like to this little girl, and be like, "I'm not your friend, pal." Like, I
you
feel
don't
like
fucking know me. This is.
yeah, I mean, I feel like telling a story like that, there's a little bit of like
I feel
a
like
through line of something.
that
you know?
dad is taking a big risk by being like this stranger in line at the ice
Yeah.
cream shop.
Yeah.
Could be friends with my daughter. We're like,
Yeah.
that's like bad parenting.
Well, yeah, people do socialize their kids sometimes
but
to be
like,
too.
If I wanted to like make
yeah,
that
trust,
deeper,
Trust that guy.
Yeah.
With the mustache.
my parents had to tell me to stop trusting people.
Word,
Yeah.
mine too.
My
What were you
parents
gonna say,
told me that
Logan?
too.
I was if I want to make that deeper, I mean the little girl actually looked like my niece. So if I wanted to make it deeper in some way to me personally, I could be like connected to my niece.
Yeah.
And then I could talk about me and my niece don't really have that great of a relationship.
Yeah, but that's
you
yeah.
know?
Again, that comes across as performative if you did that. That would come well, especially from you. That would be like immediately I would know. Oh, that's a
Well,
bit.
not necessarily.
He's
I
trying
think you
to-
could do that. I mean, I didn't mean to say that all depth is performative.
No, but I think it's honestly like if you have to think to yourself, I'm going deeper. That's performative. But if it just is a natural choice,
I was gonna
Sometimes
say-
You don't think
realize
so?
it when you're-
Well, no, I don't know. I feel like some of mine, like
I'm a repressed Irish Catholic guy, so I feel like you shouldn't ever talk about your feelings. You just get, kind of belligerently drunk, and then you start crying in front of people.
word.
I never go into something hoping to go deeper with it.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like this thing happened. I felt emotionally charged by it.
Mhm.
So I want to relate it
To this.
to like I don't know. I want to reformat this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that way when I'm thinking about old bits and I'm trying to punch them up. I think that part of what does it mean to punch something up is to kind of take a step back and think, well, what am I actually accomplishing with this joke? Like, what is this, saying in some way? And that usually informs it. But when I go deep, I mean, usually it is just like, okay, put 1, 2, 3 more act outs in that, put 3 punches. It's very mechanical. I'm very not in touch with my emotions.
I feel like you have to get the mechanics before you can really do what
Yeah.
you're talking about, which is like make a point or
Well,
take a
yeah, that's
stand or
yeah.
something.
See, I think like I'm an empath in a sense that I can like feel.
You can feel.
I can feel. No, but I'm an empath in the sense that I can get where somebody's in theory of mind somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm also sadistic in the fact that most of the time when I do feel that, I
It's
just want
I thought you could make more damage.
I just want to fuck with them.
yeah.
You know?
No, yeah, it's
Yeah, that's sociopathic.
Yeah. No, it's antisocial for sure.
Yeah.
no, yeah.
And that's probably rooted by the fact that I was beaten half to death by the police and left
Oh.
for dead.
That'll do it.
That might do it.
that fucking that laugh.
I think it's
evil
probably
laugh.
something in your soul, actually.
Ha ha ha.
Cackling into the darkness.
Honestly, that was when I truly became who I was today.
I feel like
Okay.
the record scratched, and you're like, "This is how I got here."
That was your vat of acid that Batman threw you into. That was your.
No, it was a wild time.
You're handsomer than that guy, though.
Then Heath Ledger, hell yeah.
Well, he doesn't. That's not canon in that movie.
That he's hot. That he's
So-
hot.
No, that he's vat of acid. That's specifically the Jack Nicholson Batman or Joker and the cartoon, right? You're the nerd here.
Yes.
Resident nerd.
You're the fucking nerd. Tell me, son. What do we do with that? What happens after we die? Nerd?
Hey, nerd, what the fuck? Where's my grandma right now? Is she in fucking heaven right now, nerd? Where the fuck is my grandma?
No,
Zip buddy. Where do you feel it in your body?
I feel it in my root chakra, aka my anus.
Sacral.
My anus. Well, I think we're about time for probably 60 minutes here.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna go home and put a shotgun in my mouth and
Thank God.
do a little stuntman's death.
Awesome.
Great. My favorite comics growing up were.
Oh,
Fuck, we did forget.
No.
Right?
No.
No,
let's
because
do
you
it.
Yeah, we've already done
you
that.
got the mic and then you forgot to say that.
No,
We've
can you
already
tell
done
us that
that.
now? So
Yeah, seriously.
All right. I liked SNL. I liked a lot of sketch stuff.
Yeah.
That's what my
And we're out
parents
of
were
time.
into.
That's okay.
No,
that was we watched Whitest Kids You Know, and that was like.
Did you watch
We-
Whitest Kids You Know?
That had
No.
a big impact on me.
Oh, you're
I
gonna have
watched
to show me. But
It's so good.
my parents also watched a lot of what's his name? Is it fucking Ron White?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
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 Yeah,
Leah's
Call me
parents
the
love Ron
tater.
White.
Yeah, and
He's
like
so cool.
Did you guys watch Brian Regan?
Never.
No,
See,
actually.
this is another thing that I think made me hate comedy. Was my
It
parents
was a good
liked it?
half answer, Georgia.
Mike
This
Myers
is
was
the
great.
most misogynistic podcast I've ever been on. I just want to say you have
it's all good.
a female host, and you still talk over her the entire time. That was the whole reason I wanted to come on here. I wanted to put you guys in your fucking place about this.
And right here is why I love the Pittsburgh comedy scene, because I don't have to stand up for myself. There is another comic willing to do
What
it
George is
for
trying to
me.
say is that
No.
I stand up for women.
No, that was all.
Everybody,
that was
stand
all
up
a
right
joke.
now.
That was
Stand up if you stand up for women.
that's
was
not the
all a
women.
joke.
This is the women.
Stand up
Oh,
if you
shit.
stand up for women.
No,
I
no,
came
but I
on
appreciate it.
here to be misogynistic. Actually, that
Well,
was.
honestly, the most misogynistic thing about this podcast was me talking over our guest, Brian Rowe.
That is true.
Brian Rowe, that's true. Come see me March 5th at the Corner Cafe.
Okay.
It's free.
I
Hell
will.
yeah.
I will
Oh,
try to
shit.
get. I'll try to get this out before then, and I will be there. If you want to see me, you want to have sex with me.
If you want to see me, you
I
want to have sex
Hey,
with me.
baby.
And if you want to have an orgasm, talk to me.
Ah.
Baby, you want some fuck? Yeah, I'm very selfish in bed. That's what George is trying to say.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, I've had a lot of fun. I talked over everybody, and I'm not sorry.
Word.
I had a great time. Thanks
Oh,
for
yeah.
having me.
And-
So.
I'll talk over people if I want to.
Who's Thunder?
No, if you've never seen So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Okay, I've heard
And
of
I've
that.
seen every fucking Will Ferrell movie known to man.
Is that Will Ferrell?
No, that one's my